So we are FarmLogix. We're a farm technology platform that enables large enterprise level. We create large enterprise level solutions on a national basis for folks that want to do farm to table. We all go to restaurants and we see the farms that a lot of our food comes from, and that's great. But like when Walmart or Cisco or Aramark wants to help the local farmer, they really have that ability to move the needle, but it's really complicated for them to do that consistently across the country, and that's where we come in. The size of our market is $710 billion. The local food piece is 1%. That's still a $7 billion industry, and we're first to market. We feel pretty lucky about that. We're a national model right now. We operate in 18 states. We service all the key players in our industry: Cisco, US Foods, PFG, Aramark, Chartwells, USDA, Peapod, Ahold, and most recently in the last 2 weeks, Sam's Club. We're patent pending. We will be break even in the fall of 2015. We're first to market. We're the largest farm-to-school entity in the United States. And I should talk to you because the government has had a big part of our visibility, and I would recommend the Board of Education for you. And we're woman-owned. So that's a little bit about us. Our product and services, so when we say end-to-end, we actually go out. We have a whole boots-on-the-ground department that does nothing but actually go out and meet farmers, get to know them, see if they're a good fit for what we do, and we do sourcing. So literally when Aramark says, we need you in Arkansas, we literally have a team that goes down there and actually figures out the farm network and how we're going to get things moving. We have branded patent pending solutions, so we actually move local food year-round. We do freeze produce at the end of the season, and so that in schools, schools are not in session during the summer, so we can move local food into schools during the winter. We have a whole bird initiative that helps our protein producers stay sustainable by selling the whole animal. If we're just selling drumsticks to a school, they end up with a lot of extra breasts, and so we kind of match make in that regard. We have seamless logistics management, so we are completely white labeled. Our products show up on a Cisco truck or whoever we're partnered with and billed through them, so it's completely seamless. We do have a very proprietary SKU mapping technology that helps people like that maintain farm identification through the supply chain, which just the industry at large was having issues with before we came along, and that's why we've grown so fast. 3 years ago, I was at my kitchen table packing boxes of produce as proof of concept. I'm a single mom, and 3 years later, we're here. So our challenge is growth and the rough, wild Bronco ride. I completely relate to the 18-month sales cycle with these big guys. We have a joke in our office, and it's that you go into a meeting with Cisco or whoever, and they nod and they love your program, and then they try to copy it, and a year to 18 months later, they come back and say, okay, now let's talk. So we know that cycle. And then we also, on the front end, we provide reporting and marketing tools for people that are doing RFPs. So, so what we do and why it matters: we procure and deliver local food and help our clients tell the story. We create supply chains for them and new markets for the farmers. We help in competitive bids, and most importantly, the heart of what we love to do is we increase fresh food access for low-income communities. We are the solution for Chicago Public Schools, so our food 8 times a month goes into 600 schools, and we actually bring farmers into the Englewood neighborhood and talk to the kids about farming as a career and about healthy food, and they come in with the carrots with the green tops on, and that part of our business is really lovely. So we service a two-sided market of buyers and sellers. What's complex about our market, if you look at the blue, is that we've got customer groups that are both buyers and sellers. So you could have somebody like Peapod that's selling to a consumer, or somebody like Aramark that's selling to education, but then you've got a distributor selling to Aramark. So it's a very complex two-sided market, and then we are in the middle creating solutions that actually satisfy some needs of the USDA, so they're our customer too, on the data side. So basically, we service, when we deploy into a region, we reach out. We are not exclusive with anyone. We make that very clear. So when we go into a region, we basically reach out to all the large players in the region and say, hey, do you have needs here? And these are all the people that we service across the country. So basically, our technology allows us to scale throughout the country. So we basically, what am I? I don't know. Sorry. It's our technology that allows us to scale across the country. One challenge that we're facing now is sometimes we actually sell food and sometimes we just sell technology. And when we're selling food, it's a certain kind of sale and a certain kind of growth that's a little slower. When we're selling the technology, it's a much quicker. If we don't have to sell you food, you can pretty much use our technology anywhere. However, selling the food brings a certain stickiness. So that's another one of our challenges, is do we take the whole country and just really expand that technology as a standalone product, which attracts a certain kind of funding, or do we always include the stickiness because we're this end-to-end solution for a customer? And that's something that we're talking about inside the office. As far as how we grow and we sell food, if you take our customer Aramark, whose national broadline distribution relationship is with Cisco, we actually set up a program for Aramark inside of Cisco. Cisco says, wow, this is really cool. Do you mind if our salespeople sell this product to our hospital customers or to this customer or that customer? So we're able to leverage our distributor partners' sales force to sell our products to customers that aren't ours. And that's one way we scale the growth of the food. When we're working with the data, we actually scale by picking up data customers in different regions of the country. So basically, Aramark might say to us, tell us how many local apples we put into Chicago public schools. But then we're also working with them in all these other regions, and then we can give them a report of local apples that they have moved into all regions of the country. Or we can help the USDA with their program, how many commodities have they moved across the country, and maybe they've got apples coming out of Louisiana, and it's certainly not local for Chicago public schools, but it's local for schools in Louisiana. And so basically we help them track through the supply chain where it's local, where it's not. And that's actually another project we're helping Sam's Club with. So basically this is what our technology looks like. We have this proprietary SKU that's created on the fly based on all sorts of attributes. It can be organic or sustainable seafood or local, and the distributors actually use this as a tool to manage their business. This is some customized reporting that's generated from our technology so that basically our customers can come back at CPS. People will say, well, what farms are you supporting and what day are you serving the product? And we actually can tell that story. We do receive funding from the USDA. This is a website that we run for small rural districts that want to use our program, and they actually help pay for that. We actually have a project with Peapod right now. If you go to Peapod's website and you Google local farm box, basically they have every week the product changes, and it's farm identified local food. It's kind of like a farmer's market in a box that's delivered to your door. So we've been running that since June. And this is Chicago Public Schools website. And we get a lot of press for what we do. The USDA's come out to see our work. That's the bottom left. We've been, and thanks to Tom and Tech Image, CNBC is doing a story on us, and the interview is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So, yeah, and then, this is an article. That's actually the Peapod box and the contents. And so our question really is, this last 3 years has been a crazy wild ride. I mean, it's just been crazy. And so we're all catching our breath and really trying to figure out at this point, we've really almost grown organically. We've raised very little money, and it's time to actually raise money. And, when we're talking about food, VCs say, oh, wow, that margin's low on the food side, but they love the tech. And then, we're looking for a line of credit on the food side. And it's just very complicated. We're trying to sort all that out. The pace and focus of growth. What do we want to do? How fast do we want to grow? How much do we want to raise? Do we continue to grow organically, or do we do a larger piece? We're not really sure. We've developed all sorts of pieces of our model, sourcing, buying, moving food, all of that. What pieces do we keep? What do we discard? And how do we align with larger solutions? For example, a lot of our customers are SAP, and they're asking us if we can connect our solution of farm identification to their SAP platforms, and do we want to go that route? So we've got a lot of options. It's a little bit confusing, and I have to say the best advice that I've gotten in the last month was from Maureen. I mean, because the day before I met Maureen, I had sat down with a very high-priced consultant, and he just sat there in our office like, do you want to go big or go home? And I was like, oh, come on, you know? And then I sat down with Maureen, and she just said the most solid things. And I walked out, I was like, I was so lucky to meet with you. So thank you. So that's it.
Terrific. Thank you, Linda.
Well,
Okay, so Dr. O'Hara, let's hear some of
let's-
your tips.
got a lot to live up to now. So you're in terms of funding your growth, speaking from a venture perspective, you're in a great business because you're at the confluence of a lot of trend right. So, obviously nutrition is a big trend now, and carbon footprint, reducing carbon footprints and buying locally is very important now. And so I think you have those things working for, and organics and food safety and things like that are all really great things. And anybody who uses your technology can find the bad cow that caused the disease. So that's the good news for that. So from a VC's perspective, they would find that very attractive because you're trending right. You have a huge market. You have a leader advantage, and you've shown a lot of traction. Fundraising, however, is a really full-time job, as you and I talked about. And it can go one of two ways. I mean, you hear about some companies that go out and they do fundraising, and they can fundraise in 30 days. And some people that have really great companies are out there and they're fundraising for 6 or 9 months or years. So I think that what you want to do is really position yourself so that you're a fast fundraise when you do fundraise. So the way that you want to do that is you want to go out to investors broadly now, invite them in to talk to you, tell them about your business model so that they're comfortable with you. And I would focus on investors that have been in the distribution business before. So I would tell them what you've been doing, tell them what your vision is for the future. And not ask for money, ask for advice. Because whenever you ask for advice, you get money. So start to build those relationships. And I think that if you do that now, then a year from now, you'll find fundraising a lot easier. In terms of what else the venture group is looking for, they want to know that there's a really big business. They want to know that your team and your product is going to win in whatever that marketplace is. So the way that you convince them of that is tell them what you're going to do and then go do it and report regularly on what you did. And it appears right now like you have the competitive advantage, so the best thing that you can do is really try to get national and scale, because that's going to keep the competitors at bay, and it's also going to reinforce the idea that you are the right team. In terms of the businesses that you should pursue, I personally think that sticky businesses are better for a lot of different reasons. And I would divide your business kind of into 3 separate businesses. There's the food sourcing portion of the business. There's the technology that moves that food from one point to another point. And then there's the data that comes out of that technology. And those are really 3 different things. So I think that building the food business right now makes the most sense for you. And I would go with the big national clients that you have and try to expand the number of products that they're carrying and the number of end users that they send it to. And the fact that so many of your end users have mandates to improve their farm to fork is really working in your favor because those intermediaries are feeling that. I would look really closely at pricing strategies for your business, and I don't know how you're pricing it now, but I would really think about pricing each of those 3 things separately. So pricing the actual food sourcing separately from the technology, separately from the reporting, and maybe you offer, kind of a base level and then a premium level. I know that one of your questions was, should I turn my technology over to somebody else and give them a seat so that they can query things? I would not do that right now because I think that you're going to understand what your customers want if you're controlling those searches and the data reports. So that's my advice.
Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent. Excellent advice, Doctor. Okay, any quick second opinion recommendations from our other 3 doctors?
Fantastic business, Linda. You've got, I think it combines sort of doing well, doing good, and it's a very large opportunity. my concern is you're trying to do too much. You need to focus. And you have a two-sided market. In a two-sided market, the number one thing you need to do is maximize liquidity and lock in people. So as an investor, I would look at what's your install base on both sides. So, that high price consultant was not entirely wrong. You do need to go home or go big or go home. Scaling is really important here. And I actually don't see what's stopping you from raising gobs of venture capital to scale the hell out of this thing. But don't do it before you fix the model, before you've sort of decided what the target market is and where your points of emphasis are. I think your stickiness actually comes from the farmer side, because that's the hard to source. That's that's what Cisco or Aramark can't do. If the farmers come, your customers will come. So as you're building liquidity, focus more on locking in the sources of supply, building the farmer relationships. And although the tech part's sexier and more scalable in the long run, I do think you need the boots on the ground, and you'll need capital for that. Your business is like Uber. And Uber has raised gobs and gobs of capital because they put armies of people to dominate the market. So you have to scale. If you don't scale this thing, it will die. And the way to scale it is, you may be selling organic food, but please don't be organic in your fundraising. Get toxic venture capital, inorganic fertilizer to grow this thing. And liquidity really should be focused on the farmer side. I think the analytics piece I would postpone, because analytics is not of value until you have critical mass. Don't worry about the data. Provide the data as a service. Use it as a branding thing. But really it's about, and fine-tuning, as Maureen was saying, figuring out how you're going to price this and how you get paid, getting the margins and equation right is important. But this is all about scale. A two-sided market is all about scale.